Calder.
It's a great pleasure to rise and take a call on the industry training and apprenticeship bills, and thank you for the colleague across the House contribution. We'll look forward to dealing with that in Select Committee when it is referred to the Education and Science Select Committee. The Industry Training and Apprenticeship Amendment Bill, Mr Speaker, is a vital part of this government's investment in industry training. And as we heard from the Minister when he made the first reading speech to introduce the bill to the House, in the 10 years to 2010, government funding for industry training organisations almost trebled. Almost trebled, Mr Speaker. Unfortunately, the funding increases were not matched with sufficient accountability for the funding. We heard that under the previous government, around 100,000 people a year listed as being in industry training were in fact phantom trainees. Phantom trainees, Mr Speaker, I'm not sure that if that was Mr Walker asterisk, the ghost who walks, or whether we might have had Clark Kent there, or possibly Sherlock Holmes, but there were a lot of people who didn't actually exist. Some, in fact, didn't exist. They achieved no credits, not surprisingly, because they didn't exist, and in fact some, Mr Prasad, were dead. Yes, Mr Prasad, actually dead. They were not trainees, they were not in training, they were not alive. Their parrot was nailed to the perch, Mr Prasad. Under Labor, some industry trainers found it paid them to comb the headstones in graveyards or draw from the Egyptian Book of the Dead to get the names for their trainees. Progress in improving students' skills and achievements levels was zombie-like. The sector was in a parlous state, with Labor's lack of oversight for those who were actually alive, leading to the level of training they received being such that they did not receive training sufficient to unlock their potential that lied within each one of them. So, Mr Speaker, this bill is extremely important. The Minister got on top of it. The Minister has created a bill that is good to hear has received a certain amount of support already across the House. And we are overseeing a focus and a move to a results intention in industry training, a results preoccupation. We want to see people who put their hard time and effort to learn to be rewarded. They're getting good quality training and getting good results so that they can go out and unleash the potential that lies within them all, because it's results that determine the skill level of the workforce, not intentions. So this Industry Training and Apprenticeship Amendment Bill implements the finding of a widespread government industry training review which we undertook, which led us to uncover this vast walking army of the living dead who weren't actually existing, and establishes a comprehensive apprenticeship system for the future. It also builds greater links between the government and the industry training sector. So the key things we are aiming to do is improve results for trainees and apprentices, keeping more 16 and 17-year-olds engaged in vocational training, and helping young people on benefits into training. This is really, really important. If we can help folk who are on a benefit, give them the skills that they can go out and get a well-paying job, it helps them, and ultimately it helps our country. We want to help students. It's not rocket science, Mr Speaker. It's simply that we want to ensure that students, we help them get the results and the skills they need to succeed in this increasingly complex life. And we'll continue to work to improve tertiary education and lift achievement for our students, and focus on better outcomes, not only for students, but also for the taxpayers. Not only for the students, but also for the taxpayers. We know that tertiary education is a passport to higher skills, higher wages, higher productivity, and higher growth for our economy. So ultimately, New Zealand Inc. wins. There's a personal win there for the individual concerned, but ultimately our society wins. People are healthier. We know from work done in the UK that a job is one of the greatest determinants of a person's health. So we know that our population will be healthier, they will be happier, but they have the opportunity to get a well-paying job. And that's what this government is doing as well, and growing the economy so there are more jobs out there for those with the skills. So we reviewed the industry training over 2011 to 2012, and we found some changes were necessary and needed for the industry training system. So we want to make sure that it's well connected to industry with high employer buy-in, that it's educationally sound, Mr. Speaker, and it's coherent with the wider tertiary system, and it delivers value for money for the employers, for the government, and also for the student. So this bill makes the amendments required to implement the findings of the review, and, Mr. Speaker, I look forward to talking further about this bill as it produces through the House, and in the meantime I commend the bill to the House.
Carol Beaumont.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I follow my